Welcome to the most listened to show on the internet. Welcome to AEG. I am your host, JB, and this week I have Gustavo with me.
Hey.
And I have Marlon with me.
Can you smell
Oh, Jesus, he did it again.
what the rock is cooking? So
I hope you did it. I'm glad you doubled down. I like that.
Yeah, I'm not mad. Not mad at all. But this week we're going to be touching on some news topics. We're also going to be talking about the Call of Duty Modern Warfare beta. I think I'm the only one of the three of us that played it. Yes, no, maybe?
I played some of it.
Okay,
I played about
all right.
like an hour tops.
Okay. All right, well, at least somebody else played it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Play it just on principle alone. So
You refused to play it?
yep, on principle.
I think
Why?
I played. Yeah, it was free.
I know. I'm refusing to play it on principle alone.
Okay, all right.
I got burned by Black Ops, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna touch
Well,
any Call of Duty for the next couple.
Let's get
months.
into this then, Marlon. Why?
I feel here's the thing for me when it comes to Call of Duty. Even with all the bells and whistles that they may add into the game, and people are like, saying, "Oh my God, this is like the best Call of Duty in a while." For me, it's more of the same because while the gameplay might be good, the game modes might be good, I don't know what Activision is gonna do down the line. What they did with Black Ops when it came to microtransactions, like towards the end of the period where we were playing Black Ops, I just found it disgusting. And I just, on principle alone, I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to touch this. So I'll just refer to you guys whenever it comes to Call of Duty. Because I enjoy gameplay. I enjoy when companies decide to be good and honest about what they're doing, as opposed to just backing off for a little bit and then doubling down the line. I can't stand that. So for me, just on principle alone, I'm not gonna touch this.
So I'll just say this then, and then me and Jeff will talk impressions as our first topic.
Sure.
I totally hear you. I don't disagree with you, but like, not only is this a new Modern Warfare and it's a reboot, and they liken it, the developers, Infinity Ward, they'd liken it to Casino Royale, where this is like, hey, this is in the vein of Casino Royale, where it's in the same Bond universe, but it's a new Bond, and it's the same Captain Price, but it's a new Captain Price.
It's not even voiced by the same person, I think, actually. If I remember hearing correctly, I can't remember where I heard it, but I don't even think it's the same voice actor for Captain Price this time around.
But the cool thing about it is, sorry, I yawned. The adrenaline is starting to come down after a crazy horde. But one of the cool things about it is they're using a completely new engine, which you can totally feel when you play the game. The gunplay feels like COD, but it feels fresh. I think that's the best description that I can think of. It feels fresh, but it's a completely new engine. And then developers, I think one of the cool things about it is that you've got developers who worked on the original Infinity Ward, who had the fallout with Activision when Vince Zampella and Jason West had the falling out. Went to Respawn, worked at Respawn for about 7-8 years, and then some of them returned back to Infinity Ward after that fiasco to work on this Modern Warfare. So there's a pedigree here that, and I don't want to dump on other COD games, but there's a pedigree here that makes me want to play this game.
That we haven't seen in a Call of Duty in a while. Basically, is what you're saying,
right?
Like the.
So multiplayer is something that we're all excited about, and multiplayer is, people come in for the campaign and they stay for the multiplayer. But I'm excited for the campaign. Like, there's a little bit of controversy surrounding it about as to how much violence it's going to showcase, and I'm glad that, judging by what some of the developers have said on various outlets like Game Informer recently, they're not really going to back down from any criticism, and they're going to tell the story that they want to tell. I think there was a Dean Takahashi from some publication stating that he saw the use of white phosphorus, which is a nasty agent.
Really?
And yeah, that campaign, put it like this. Dalton, who's not here, he's a COD hater, and he's so excited for this. He said it himself, like, this is the game that he's most anticipated for in 2019. That's saying something when the biggest COD hater among us is excited for Modern Warfare.
What was the
Pregnant
game?
pause.
What was the game that used Wi-Fi first? Was Spec Ops? Yeah, Spec Ops: The Line.
Spec Ops the Line. Spec Ops
Yeah,
the Line.
Spec Ops: The
Great game.
Lines
I
used that
love that
Wi-Fi
game.
first, and that shit got to me, man. That
Nice.
that for me, that mission right there for me was like, are you serious?
That's
Like,
a
are you seriously deciding to use this type of chemical warfare on a video game, knowing what it can do? And not only do you decide to show it, you decide to show the worst of it all. And what the hell's going on here? Why do I keep getting Skype call? Okay, that was weird. Here's the thing, though. If you're telling me that this Call of Duty Modern Warfare is gonna have a White Force first, mission or something akin to that, okay, I'm intrigued by this. But again, I'm gonna wait and see. I'm just gonna make sure to, if I decide to get Call of Duty, it's gonna be probably down the line, maybe a year from now. Maybe when it's like on resale, maybe when it's like $20 or something like that. Because I just refuse to play it on day one, and I mean, I keep getting burned by these games. I keep buying them day one. I don't play them. They just sit there, and I don't know what to tell you.
But Jeff, what'd you think of what you played?
I honestly really, really liked it. I got to level 10 because if you get to level 10, you get a bonus like shotgun when the final game comes out. So I dabbled in all the modes. I didn't want to just play like team deathmatch or whatever, but the way they do it in the beta is like you hit quick play and it drops you in a random map in a random mode. So there's not like I don't think there was one time where I played the same game type twice in a row.
Gotcha.
So I played, let's see, Cyber Attack, which is the new mode that they have. I played Team Deathmatch. I played Headquarters. I played Domination. I did try one match of Ground War, which is the big, like, almost Battlefield level, like, style stuff.
That?
Where it was, it was good. It was hectic as hell, and like, I mean, they definitely are stealing stuff from the Battlefield franchise. Like, I mean, you can squad spawn, you get bonus XP for squad spawning, like all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's crazy. There's vehicles, there's just chaos, kill streaks raining down, and all sorts of crazy shit. On top of the normal Call of Duty gameplay, the moment to moment gameplay. But honestly, I think my favorite mode that I played in the beta was Cyber Attack, which is kind of like it's kind of search and destroy. It's also a little bit of like Rainbow Six Siege style mixed into it, because if you die, you are done for that round unless a teammate can revive you. So it's that kind of push and pull, like, can I either eliminate the entire team or get this objective, which is basically placing a bomb in the amount of time limit. But if I am losing some of my teammates, am I able to revive them so we can basically turn the tide? Because I had that happen quite a few times where, like, we were down like 5-3, and we took out a couple of their guys, revived the two guys that we had lost, and then were able to overcome and beat them. So I mean, there's definitely it's like a tug of war almost. I really enjoyed it. It's a lot slower paced, which for somebody like me that isn't very good at twitchy shooters, like, I can hold my own, but I'm not like amazing at them. It was a good like middle ground for me. Because you still had the twitchiness of like the normal gameplay, but also the mode itself slowed things down. So, I mean, overall, I liked it. I'm still on the fence if I'm gonna get it day one. I really am, just because Outer Worlds is out that same day, and I am so freaking excited for that game.
It's out on Game Pass though.
It is. But I mean, it's not the money thing. It's just the time investment. Like, am I really going to play a lot of it?
Gotcha.
With Outer Worlds also, coming out that day. And there's a ton of other stuff in that window of time, that the weeks following it and the weeks before it. So, well, October, actually, the end of October is super packed, but everything else is like November is like just
November. Yeah,
it's just stupid. But I mean, overall, I definitely liked it. It is probably one of the better Call of Duties I think I've played in a very, very long time. I agree with what Marlon was saying about some of the things with Black Ops 4, like the moment-to-moment gameplay in Black Ops 4 is very good. The way that the multiplayer matches went for me, like, I just did not have fun. And I can honestly say, like, I was having fun playing Modern Warfare. I did also get to try out genuine crossplay. Like, I was playing with my friend on the PS4, and we were in a party with someone that was playing on the PC, and we were all able to play together and talk to each other. There were some glitches where, like, we finished a match, and then it straight up dropped voice chat, and I had to restart the app.
Whoa.
To talk to them again. So I mean, there are some roadblocks. I don't know if it's something that they is a beta thing, or they might have to fix it prior to release, or it's just something weird glitch on their end. But I mean, overall, I enjoyed my time with the beta. It ends, I think, tonight or tomorrow. When you hear it'll be over by the time you hear this. But yeah. I mean, Goose, you said you played a little bit more. So
yeah, no, I don't think I played more than you actually. I think I played about an hour. I played it. I forgot when. I know that the TMSG guys and myself, we played some Horde. I think it was. I forgot when. And then afterwards, Andrew wanted to play some, so we played for about maybe half an hour, and then I played a little bit by myself. I definitely enjoyed it. I'll be honest, like, I enjoyed the multiplayer, and they're doing lots of different things, but I don't think I'll be staying much for the multiplayer unless I'll be playing like with friends or whatever. I don't think I'll hop in solo.
Right. That's I feel you there for sure.
The only reason it's a day one for me is because the Modern Warfare segments of COD are like my favorite. Modern Warfare 1 and 2, especially Modern Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare is probably my favorite COD of all time when it comes to the narrative. So it's a day one because I really want to play the story, and I haven't been excited for a Call of Duty story in a long time. But no, I enjoyed it. It feels like I'll be honest, it just feels like more COD, even though there's a lot of new features in it. The one thing that I am interested, like what the developers are going to do, is that they did say that they weren't going to have a season pass. So I want to see how that model works for Activision, if at all, and what they'll do to try to keep the community engaged, because a lot of people give COD a lot of crap in regards to microtransactions, and I understand that, and there is some truth to that. But one of the things that I've learned this generation as a former COD hater is that there is so much content for those people that pay the $50 for the season pass. Like every 3 months, you're going to get map packs. You're going to get zombies. You're going to get multiplayer. You're going to get blackout stuff when it came to Black Ops 4. I want to know, how is Activision going to fund development of content when people aren't paying for it?
Right. Yeah, that's going to be very interesting to see. I mean, yeah, it's so weird this year, like not having like I mean, there are deluxe editions of this game, but it's all cosmetic stuff.
Yeah.
And like COD points and stuff like that. So I mean, that's where they're going to try to make up that revenue. Absolutely.
And another thing that I'm really interested in as well, that hasn't gotten much time, at least I haven't seen it, is the Spec Ops mode. They're going to go back to Spec Ops like they did in Modern Warfare 2. So I'm
freaking loved that. So
yeah, I'm very excited about how that co-op is going to work. It's probably something that I see like a sleeper for me, because I've really been like on this co-op kick recently where I'm like, man, I want to play something like that with some friends or whatever.
Hell yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
If you ask me, I feel like it's about time that they put some of that revenue back into the gameplays. And I hope that they don't go into the heavy microtransaction, because, hey, when your company, Activision Blizzard, decides to make, I don't know, $7.5 billion in the last year, I think you need to, like, actually put some of that money back into the game. I don't know. I feel like we keep saying like, oh, this Blizzard needs to get that revenue. I'm like, I'm sorry, they get so much money that it's insane. Like it's to the point where, for me, whenever we see like these companies always like going out there say, listen, we need to put microtransactions to keep the servers up, to keep pay our employees, pay us all that. I'm like, do you know how much money you made last year, right? And they're like, well, we only made like a couple of billions. I'm like, I don't think you're
right. Like that's what's going to be really interesting. Is this model the model that they're gonna? I mean, this is definitely an experiment. Like at the end of this generation, especially with like the cross-play support, being able to play on whatever console you want, and the lack of an actual purchasable season pass. Like, if this takes off and the community responds positively to all of it, like, I'm assuming this is what we're going to see moving forward with Call of Duty, which honestly I think is perfect. It's exactly what it needs to be.
Question: have they said anything about having an exclusive, time get it based event or exclusiveness with a PS4, Xbox, or PC?
Yes, they are still. PS4 still gets exclusivity in certain things, but I don't know what that actually. I don't think it's like they get the maps early because they didn't. Because they said, like, I'm pretty sure Infinity Ward came out and said, like, we're gonna, all the maps and everything is gonna be available on every console on at the same time. So I don't.
Genuinely, I would be surprised if there was like any time gating for maps, because the entire point of crossplay and the entire point of them not doing a season pass is to stop the fragmentation that used to happen. You'd have the haves and the have-nots, right? You'd have the people who'd buy the game on day one, and then you'd have the people who buy the season pass, and then they wouldn't be able to play together when it came to certain modes because of the discrepancy in not having the maps.
Right.
But would be the point of continuing to do the exclusivity thing if you're going to just fragment the player base, which would be bigger now because it would just be one entire pool, which would be PC, Xbox, and PS4. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's the thing that I was talking about, because when you mentioned it, Jeff, the whole cross-platform thing, which we can get into right now if you need to, I feel like when you start adding cross-platform into your video games and you start adding the bigger pool base of PC, Xbox, and PS4, maybe down the line you'll see the Switch. We don't know, It's like the younger brother that nobody wants to play with.
Like the redheaded stepchild of.
But
no, no, I love my Switch.
One thing I'll say about Call of Duty Modern Warfare is that it'll be the top selling game of 2019. It'll definitely chart. It'll definitely chart in the NPDs, unlike one of probably Jeff's favorite games of this year, Control.
Absolutely. It's on my. It's definitely in my top 5 so far. I mean, obviously, it's not. We still got plenty. There are plenty of games to come out that I still really want to play. So, but as of right now, it stands. I'm pretty sure it's in my top 5.
You know what? Forget the whole cross-platform thing for now. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about the NPDs, because I really want to hear your thoughts about
Goose
you
loves
feel
this
about
shit.
some of these numbers. Because I'm looking at this and I'm going, really? Grand Theft Auto 5 again on the top? Go ahead.
So I'm really not going to focus so much on the MPDs as so much as what game didn't chart and what game did.
Yeah.
So, and I'll be honest, I looked at the MPDs a couple weeks ago, like 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, okay. And I'll be honest, I totally forgot that Control wasn't there at all. I looked at the Reset Era post. I looked at the Matt Piscatella Twitter through the AEG Twitter because that son of a bitch blocked me for whatever reason. Fuck you, Matt Piscatella. Fuck you. You left-wing nut job. But
my God,
I saw that they were saying, "Oh, hey, Control didn't chart," and I was like, "Oh my God!" And then one thing that I thought about, Astral Chain charted in the top 10,
and that came out 3 days after Control,
and it came out on the last day of the month.
Yeah, it was like, it was.
You get it on the last day of the month. It sold for all of one day, and it charted top 10 on Nintendo Switch. This game, Astral Chain, was available on only one platform, as opposed to Control, which was available on 3, PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Yep.
And it didn't chart.
Here's the thing for
And
me.
I haven't played it, although I own it, and I'm excited for it to play it. But I'm just like, I felt so bad for Remedy. I'm like, the curse continues. Like their games don't sell. What is it about Remedy that people don't like or people don't see? Like, I don't understand it. I was like heartbroken a little bit.
Here's the thing for me though. When I'm looking at the list, I'm thinking, okay, Madden NFL 20. That's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. Yep.
That's gonna happen whenever Madden drops any given month of the year. That's gonna be that.
Especially because Madden dropped early this year, so it had almost an entire month to pick up steam. So
the thing that gets me is Grand Theft Auto 5 again for number 3. Number 3.
It's one of the biggest games in the entire world, man. There's no stopping that game.
That game. When did it come out? Like about 2-3 years ago.
It was original version on the last gen systems, I think, was 2013. So 6 years ago.
Are you serious?
Wait, sorry, what was that?
No.
He was
Grand
saying
Theft Auto 5
when GTA 5 actually first came out, and I said it was
2013.
Like, yeah, it was 2013.
It came out in 2013, and then I think in 2015 the remaster came out.
Yeah, they did the remaster like almost a year or so into the new consoles.
Well, that's an evergreen title, and that game sells. What I just want to focus on is Control. Ryan McCaffrey from IGN said something on Twitter that really put me on notice, and I thought about it, and I said, you know what, he's right. He tweeted out and said, had this been a Sony first party game and had gotten the Sony first party marketing push, it would have charted.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
he's not wrong.
Jeff could speak to it. Like, I don't know whether you consider it a AAA or a AA title. I would say it's a AAA title from a AA publisher. 505 Games. I didn't see any marketing for it much. Obviously, I saw it online, but
right, I saw it because I followed it. Like, exactly. I followed the game, so obviously I'm going to keep up with the marketing more than like. It's not one of those titles. I didn't see many commercials for it on television. Like I think I did here and there. Like because a lot of times, like if I watch WWE weekly programming, and they're sponsored by a lot of video games generally. And I know I saw advertisements for it like when I was watching WWE Raw and stuff like that, but very little compared to some of the other like Gears 5. Like that game is fucking plastered everywhere because obviously it's Microsoft's main marketing title for the fall, and it's Microsoft's marketing, of course. But yeah, it's so weird that
you want to hear my take on this, because my take on this will basically tell you what happened with this game. As of right now, for me, when somebody tells me Control, the game, you know what the first thing that comes to my head? Indie title. Regardless of who makes it. Like when I saw Control and I saw like the posters and the advertisement for it, lack of advertisement, of the little advertisement that there was, I always thought, oh, this is just a little indie title from some indie developer that I never heard about. It was only until I realized it was actually being made by Remedy Entertainment that I realized, wait a minute, Remedy is making this game? Huh. Okay. And then I'm thinking, and that's probably going to be a lot of like the people who are not in the know of this game, or who are not followers of Remedy Entertainment, like exclusively from them, or just are not on the radar for them. They will just go, oh, it's just an indie title. They're not going to look deeper into like who made it or whose pedigree is behind it. And I feel like that's what happens with most of these games. Number one, it sold on all the consoles, so you would think that you would have gotten a lot more exposure. But the thing that, for me, in my perspective, killed it was that exclusive deal with Epic Store. Because not only are you putting your game not on Steam, where there's the biggest PC market that you could ever have, you decide to put it behind an exclusive store that, as of late, has had some controversy and some backlash when it comes to just the way that they do things. So even if they got paid, I feel like that's what.
Jesus. You having a monster truck rally in your house?
I apologize for that. I can't control that.
No,
I wish I had a bazooka. I'd blow them up.
giving,
just
I'm
control.
just giving
Oh,
you
just
shit. That was
controls powers to basically stop that from happening.
For
Um,
real.
I feel like at the end of the day, it was just a couple, multiple things that caused Remedy not to chart, it, and I feel bad for them. But again, at the end of the day, if you're gonna put yourself into an exclusively with Epic, then that kind of leads into the whole thing why Remedy got paid so much money for exclusivity, because
So
I realized that they probably got that into the contract because they realized, hey, listen, since we're not gonna be on Steam, we might not get that revenue that we otherwise would get from Steam. And
so just to clear it up for the listener, so the developer of Control was 505 Games. I don't know whether Remedy directly got a cut. There was a report online saying that 505 Games accepted a $10 million payment from Epic to have Control as an exclusive on the Epic Store, right? One, I just want to say that I don't think that alone stopped it from charting, because it was still available on PS4 and Xbox One, which you can ostensibly say it's a demographic of maybe like 150. It's a
yeah,
market of maybe like 150 people who own these consoles, right? So they could have charted at least at the top 20. So although that may have something to do with it, I don't think it was the biggest contributing factor that stopped it from charting.
I think it was just one of them. I'm just saying. I don't
And
think.
then another thing that I want to point out was that I just looked it up right now because I just got curious. I'm like, wait a minute, I want to see what was their last game and where did it chart in the NPDs when it came out. Their last game was Quantum Break. It came out in 2016. It came out only on Xbox One. It did not release on PC. It released on PC about 18 months later, and it charted. I'm looking at it right now. It charted 7th on Xbox One alone.
Marketing.
Damn.
So exactly. I'm glad you
Yep.
mentioned that. It has to be marketing. And one of the things that I tell myself is, because I have this issue where I think that, like, I'm in this gaming bubble and I think everybody's in it. No, not everybody is a loser gamer nerd like me. Joe Schmo who buys, COD and Call of Duty and Madden every year, and that's it. They may not know who Remedy is. They may not know what Control is. And I'm just like a little sad for Remedy, where I'm like, they make awesome games. Like their last 3 games, I haven't played Control, but Jeff probably can vouch for it. Control, Quantum Break, and Alan Wake have been awesome fucking games.
Absolutely.
Like as soon as Control was mentioned, like, oh, they're working on this thing called Control, I'm like, I'm in. Like I played Quantum Break, I love that game. It's an underrated title on Xbox One. Yeah, bring it on. I can't wait to play this game. And I'm just like, man, where does this leave them going forward? Like, I was hoping that this would be and a lot of people too. A lot of Sony fanboys were like, oh, this may be the breakout game. This is what may catapult them
Especially,
into.
yeah. I was just gonna say, especially since it is on multiple platforms now.
Yeah, that was a lot of people make a big hullabaloo about Shuhei Yoshida, because Shuhei Yoshida visited them out, I think, in Denmark or wherever they're located out of in the Scandinavian countries. And they were like, oh, if Control is as big as we think it's going to be, maybe this will catapult them into stardom. This will be their big break, and maybe Sony will snatch them up as a developer. But now I don't know where this leaves Remedy as a developer. I hope that the $10 million that 505 Games took in order to have it, be an Epic exclusive, offsets some of the loss. But I just hope that they're able to. I bought the season pass for it, so I'm expecting to get content for it, even though I haven't played the game yet. But I don't know what to say.
I feel like,
Yeah, I mean, in the content that they had, and they have announced the content for the season pass. I mean, and it all does look very interesting. I did not buy the season pass, but I definitely will buy that content.
I'll be honest. As soon as I saw the Alan Wake stuff, I was like, oh, got it right now.
Yeah, I cannot blame you there. Yeah, that is definitely, that's what I think most excited for out of all of it.
So. Again, we'll pay our respects to Control, and we'll pay our respects to 505 Games, even though they're getting 10 million. But I feel like it's sad when you have a developer that has such passion for their games and doesn't get the traction that you would otherwise get because I see so many games that are honestly not worth it. I mean, I get that people like NFL, and I get people like FIFA, and I get people like Call of Duty, but when you have games that are revolutionaries for their time, because I'm pretty sure when we come back and we look back at Control, we're like, man, this thing was actually freaking cool. And we'll look at Alan Wake, or we look at Quantum Break and stuff like that, and then you realize like people don't want this type of games because to them they're like, I just want to veg out, I just want to have fun. Like, yeah, but you missed out on great storylines that otherwise wouldn't be told because these developers tried something that was new and innovative at the time, and they got shit for it. Because at the end of the day, it's a business. Like, people just and not just the people that make the game, but the companies like Activision. We take so much shit to Activision, but hey, at the end of the day, they make a lot of money, and that's what keeps the machine moving, and that's what keeps the machine going. And look at what happened with Visceral Games. Microsoft said, fuck you guys. You guys are not making enough money for us. We'll just cut you up and chop you up, and we'll resurface all your stuff to other companies. And it's sad because you have great talent in these developers and the studios, and it's not being shown because it's just not making enough money for it. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I'll be honest. For me, and just to close out on it, for me, it just underscores how important marketing can be. And I didn't really think of marketing. I've always wanted someone like a rock star to say, hey, put out a Twitter out at 9 a.m. New York time and say, hey, you can download GTA 6 right now. And I'm like, well, they can do that, but there's other developers who they just don't have that cachet. They just don't have that name recognition or notoriety. And I was like, man, I feel bad for Remedy. I hope they get another shot at it, though.
Yeah, I hope that they can bounce back from it, absolutely, because like you said, Goose, I love their games.
And you beat this game. You finished this.
Finished it. Yep, has been completed.
How did it go back?
Well,
you played it on Pro.
Thanks for that segue, Marlon, because that kind of leads into our one of our main topics our topic of the week, kind of a combination of the differences between base consoles and the Pro or the enhanced versions of these consoles that they have come out with. Because there's been specifically Control and specifically Borderlands 3 have kind of been in the news a lot lately. Because if you're playing these games on a standard PlayStation 4 or Xbox One,
also known as the peasant console.
Yeah. Keep calling it like that, you sack of shit.
Yeah.
He called me a sack of shit.
He did call you a sack of shit. Basically, if you're playing it on these lower tier versions of the consoles, it's not working so well for you. Control specifically, I was reading that it has there are points where the frame rate is so bad it drops to 10 frames per second in some areas, depending on what's going on the screen. And there's a lot of shit going on that screen. I mean, that's not to say that the PS4 Pro which is what I played it on, because
Jeff is not a peasant.
Nope, not a peasant. There were still times where it chugged a little bit. But I was playing. I know they've already put out a patch to try to alleviate some of that stuff. I played the entire game prior to that patch. So
that's how much he liked it.
Yeah, that's true. I played it I got it on the day of. I didn't get a chance to play it till Wednesday, and I finished it by Sunday. So I mean, like 4 or 5 days took me to finish the game. So I burned the hell through that game. I loved it. But like I said, I played it on a PS4 Pro, so I don't really know. Now, my friend that I game share with, he still has his standard original model PS4, like base ass PS4, and he didn't complain to me, at least. Yeah, peasant. he's not
No,
at
you,
all a
you can't
peasant.
say that, dude, because he will shut you down. He will be like,
Yeah,
he will close the
no,
spigot. He will be like, no more game share.
no, absolutely no. He knows, like, he knows I would just give him shit about it. But no, I talked to him about it, and he had absolutely no problems with it. And I don't know. Like, I haven't had any problems with Borderlands 3 either. I've been playing that like nobody's business. I have noticed some slowdown in the menus, which is where a lot of people said that they have the most slowdown right now, like getting into like the inventory menu and stuff like that. But I don't know. Like, what do you guys think about the whole debate between base consoles and, the Pro systems, or the Xbox One X and all that kind of stuff?
So I'll start off. When there was a rumor that there was going to be an updated Xbox One and an updated PS4, it wasn't like before where they're like, oh, we're just going to make it, we're going to shrink it, we're going to make it smaller, and we're going to sell it for cheaper. That wasn't what was being bandied about when it came to rumors. It was, hey, this is going to be more powerful. This is going to be stronger, faster. And I remember I didn't like that. I remember my first
Longer.
reaction, gay. I remember my first reaction was a visceral one. Was like, oh no 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 no, I don't want that. Oh no 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 no, don't do that. No 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 no. I don't like the sound of that. And it's kind of funny because I ended up getting both. But I remember it specifically around GDC. I think it was 2016, GDC 2016 February, because the console launched at the end of the year, PS4 Pro. I remember there were even stronger rumors about this being a thing. And I'm like, you're just going to fragment the market. You're going to fragment the market. You're going to have haves and have-nots. And Sony was like, no, when they announced it, they're like, no one's going to get left behind. Bullshit. Inherently, people are going to get left behind. You have a better machine, and then you have a not so better machine. And when it comes to software, inherently the better machine is going to play the games better, whether it comes to resolution, whether it comes to frame rates, smoother frame rates, right?
Yeah.
I think I don't want to say I feel bad, but it sucks because the majority of the market are peasant PS4s and peasant Xbox Ones. They're not PS4 Pros, they're not Xbox One X's. But when developers develop a game, they target the higher spec machines. It's just the truth. I can't vouch for it. I'm talking out my ass, obviously, but I'm willing to bet that when developers start developing a game, they target the higher spec machine. It's just
Yeah.
easier.
They do it. Here, I'm gonna give you my thoughts. I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm not gonna go on a rant, but I'm gonna say this: when the Xbox One X was announced, okay, I said to myself, I'm about to get fucked over, big time. I even call it, this is the Xbox One XXX, because I'm about to get fucked over, because it's gonna make Sony push out that PS4 Pro, which means that I'm gonna get fucked over because their developers are gonna be targeting the PS4 Pro as the base model, and they're gonna be targeting the Xbox One X as the base model. Okay, and this is the thing: when you have developers that are basically saying the base model for now on is the PS4 Pro, and we're gonna optimize and we're gonna make our games based on that machine. What does that mean? It means that the PS4 Pro, the PS4, and the Xbox One S are getting fucked over because those games are not gonna be optimized for those machines. They're gonna run like shit. Why? Because they're not meant for those machines. They're meant for the PS4 Pros and the Xbox One X and the Switch Pros, whatever, when that comes out. I don't understand this. I'm like, you are fragmenting your fan base by getting this, second generation machines that are within a generation, meaning it's an upgrade.
It's a half step upgrade.
Yeah, you're gonna basically tell your first one buyers, the ones who basically getting into the system early on, the early adapters, that your money is shit because we don't really care about you. We only care about the ones who are gonna be paying and keeping up with us. I get that. It's the nature of the things. And people have been seeing this in the PC world for decades. I get that. But what I'm saying is that have a little bit more sympathy and empathy towards those their early one adapters, because hey, number one, they are the ones who purchased your console when it first came out. They are the ones who keep buying your stuff.
When Marlon said have some sympathy, a man named Capitalism just laughed
Yeah,
out loud.
yeah, I know. I can see him just cackling like there. Sympathy. Yeah, no. So the thing for me is like the only thing that I ask for is because it's a business. I get it. You want to make money. At least have the decency to at least make the PS4 and the Xbox One S be the base model when it comes to your games. Start from that, and then build on and add the bells and whistles and make that onto the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X.
It's easier though to scale up and drop it down than to scale down and raise it up.
Yeah. Like one thing that Marlon said, and I don't think he meant it that way. I don't think that the base consoles get worse. Like they're not worse on purpose.
No.
Like the majority of the times you'll get like maybe upscaled, not upscaled, but checkerboard 4K on PS4 Pro, for example. A lot of the games don't really run at 4K. The majority of games don't run on 4K. They call it a 4K console, but if you watch Digital Foundry at all, with any regularity, you're going to notice like the console isn't powerful enough to output at 4K. As a matter of fact, it has hardware built inside, so you can use reconstruction techniques like checkerboard rendering or temporal injection, where you'll get like a faux 4K image, and it looks fine. Sometimes it doesn't. I think of Red Dead Redemption 2. I remember I saw it running on Xbox One X, and I was like, only when I noticed it, right? I was like, oh wow, it looks like shit on my PS4 Pro and 4K TV. Like it looks grainy. It doesn't look crisp and sharp like the way it does on Xbox One X. I was like, oh yeah, it doesn't look the same. But that's just like, I think the majority of people aren't really going to notice. Like, how many people are going to have both a PS4 and Xbox One X, PS4 Pro and Xbox One X? How many people are going to have the same game? How many people are going to run the TV side by side? Right? Very few people, if any, are going to be doing that stuff. There's only nerdy people like me who notices that shit and wants the best. And for the PC gamers out there, fuck you, right? We know that you're the PC master race. We're not. You're not part of this conversation, okay? But I would hope that going forward they don't do this again. I would hope that if or they would do something akin to, hey, next generation, we're going to have a 1080p 60 frames per second console, and we're going to have a 4K 60 frames per second console, and you get to choose, and just know that this is a premium. There's going to be a premium for more power. I would like that at the beginning of the generation, but not at the middle of it, because I remember when they did the PS4 Pro, and then they started talking about what the enhancements for Horizon Zero Dawn were going to be, 4K HDR. And I was so excited for Horizon Zero Dawn. It was probably like one of the most excited games I had been for this generation. And I was like, man, I'm going to have to fucking buy a PS4 Pro, and I'm going to have to fucking buy a new TV. And obviously, I didn't have to do it. Right, I don't have to. I didn't need it. Right, it's not like air or water that I need to survive.
You wanted it, different.
But I wanted it. I was like, I'm not gonna have a subpar experience with Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'm glad that I didn't. I remember it was like that and Ratchet and Clank were one of the games when it came to HDR. I was blown away. I was like, whoa, this is some shit right here. This is eye candy, man.
Talk about 4K for a minute, and I don't want to deviate the conversation, but it is a conversational podcast. So I want to ask you guys just this small question, because I'm looking at it going. So the first 4K TV was announced on August 23rd of 2012. Okay, it's been 7 years since the first official 4K TV came out. It's been 7 years, and yet we still have not barely any 4K TV channels.
Well, you're barking up the wrong tree again, because when it comes to cable networks or TV, they're not going to pay they're not going to pay to have bandwidth up at 4K. Exactly. They're not going to do that. I mean, if you look at cable providers, they don't even output to 1080p
anymore.
People don't know that they output natively to 720p, and then some
gets upscaled.
It does get upscaled to 1080p, but some boxes allow you to actually put it to 1080i, but they don't tell you that because it costs them more to pump all that bandwidth, right? So
what I'm saying is
but I think the point that you're trying to make is, hey, what's the point of buying this, right? If you're not going to get its worth, but again, you're not going to get it through TV. You're going to get it through things like Netflix. You're going to get it through gaming. Gaming has usually been the vanguard that, hey, I'm going to showcase this.
Yeah, but my thing for this is like, we know that the boxes are not optimized for that. We know that we're never gonna get the full picture of it. Is what I'm saying is like, if you are making a console, or whether you're making a base game, you should account for that. You know, you can't just keep telling your players, oh, well, listen, now we're moving all things for 4K, so that means that you can get our experience and then you get ourselves the 4K box. That's the thing that gets me. Because if, and this doesn't happen in TV because we know that it's too difficult, it's too much to be asking the entire population to be like, oh, listen, Xfinity or if Comcast, oh, we're going to need you guys to switch your boxes to 4K boxes because, hey, that's not going to happen. But what I'm saying is, like, we have had 4K for almost 7 years, and it's taking so long. And 8K is around the corner, and that's the thing that gets me. 4K still hasn't been optimized for certain consoles. We're getting 4K next generation, and we're probably going to be getting an 8K in mid-season generation when it comes to PS4 5 and PS4 5 Pro.
Oh, I hope not, because I don't want to get an 8K TV.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. This whole notion that we have to upgrade so fucking quickly, and people are gonna get left behind. I get that.
But you don't have to upgrade. Like, you don't have to.
No, but when you start looking at video games, they're being upgraded along with it, and they're being optimized for those things. You're gonna get
You feel left out. I know the feeling. You feel that you're like, I have the shitty version. No, I don't. This sucks. I don't want to play it.
Yeah, because you're not getting because now you're not just getting a shittier version of the game. You're getting a shittier version of the game that is not optimized for your console and play shitty, and you're not getting the full experience that you wanted to get. You saw the trailers. You look at E3 and you see how smooth it runs, and you say, oh man, I wanted that, and you don't get that because you were not targeting for that. You were not the target demographic for those type of games.
But you couldn't. But you couldn't because just see. And this is the thing. This is one of the reasons why I didn't want mid-gen refreshes. No one will be happy. You see, because Marlon he's got the base PS4, and his complaint is, well, you're targeting the high spec machine, and I get left out. And then I could turn it around on him, and I could say, well, I'm upset because instead of targeting my high end machine only and getting the best results, they're targeting your base console. So they have to dumb it down for my console, right? It's like, oh god, it's so. But that's a stupid argument.
That's the thing, though, and I feel like if we're gonna be getting into video games where it's being optimized certain ways or has different, sliders when it comes to how the optimization is we're getting closer and closer to how PC runs. And by this point, if we're going to be doing that, well, like, look, Star Ocean did it?
Star Ocean had, like, PC, like, settings on PS4 Pro.
You can do that. Like it's not something that you could do it. It's just that a lot of developers don't have the time for that, nor do they want to allocate time for that.
I'll be honest, I wouldn't want that on console games, dude. I would not want to worry about what the best graphical settings are. Someone as obsessive as me, and just like a pain in the ass as I am, I would look at Reddit for like the optimal settings for each game, and that would just be like another barrier for the way I play my games. I know that's like a me problem. I get that. That's a goose problem, but I wouldn't want games to run like that. That's what PC's for. Like, I love the plug and play of consoles. You plug it, you play it. A PS4 Pro came out. I know I have the best experience on PS4. An Xbox One X came out. I know I have the best experience on Xbox One X. I plug it onto my entertainment center, and I'm good to go. I don't want to worry about drivers and none of this settings and none of this bullshit. I don't want to worry about that stuff. So I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that in console games.
I think for me, it's in this particular instances, I'm in both camps. I get that it's the easiness of plug and play, but it's also the fact that, number one, if I'm paying $400 for this console and this game doesn't play well, it's not like it's I'm not talking about in the graphical sense like it doesn't look pretty. I'm talking about in the sense that it just doesn't run well. Like, the performance just sucks. We were talking about 10
Control for example, doesn't run well, but I don't. But it doesn't run well on PS4 Pro either, and it doesn't run well on Xbox One X either. It just runs.
Optimization is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. It's not even optimized for those consoles. Like you can tell that like Remedy was struggling to get to 30 on all four consoles, both base and enhanced consoles. Like this is just an example of end of the generation game where they're sort of shooting for the stars and they just can't hit those targets. Maybe a little more optimization is needed. Hopefully they get to it. But like I look at games like Horizon Zero Dawn. Your experience as a PS4 base player is a great experience. It runs at 30 frames per second, almost locked, and it runs at a native 1080p. No upscale. It runs well for the machine that it's targeting.
Exactly. It that's my issue. If you're making a game for PS4 that's gonna run on all your PS4 consoles, okay, make sure that it's optimized for the base console. And then, once you know that it's optimized for the base console, then you can upscale. But don't be optimizing for the high-end console, and then when you put it on the regular console, it doesn't run well because it's just not optimized for that. And I get it that it's not for me. I get it that it's for the people that that are paying that did the upgrade early on. That just want to enjoy that. I get that. I just feel that there should be a middle ground. Not to the point where you're completely, just focusing on the peasant consoles like me, or focusing on the high-end consoles and leaving everybody behind. I'm just saying that there should be a middle ground. And if your game is not optimized to play any of those, maybe keep it a little bit more time on the oven. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just a peasant console that's just like saying I want to experience it as well. But I feel like there should be a middle ground in this one. Maybe Jeff. It remains.
It remains to be seen. If I had the ability to get a pro version of the console right out of the gate, I probably would. I would, take that plunge and spend a little bit of extra money to get the best experience. Like I was saying to you earlier, Marlon, like. You don't have to do that, but that's me. That's how I am. That's personally what I think, what I want to do. I don't want to upgrade my TV. I mean, I even have a lower end 4K TV. I don't have HDR settings. I don't have all the extra bells and whistles and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm eventually going to have to upgrade my TV or want to upgrade my TV sooner or later, but,
I think my issue was that I did that back on the Xbox 360, and I got so burned out on it that I'm just basically like, I just don't want to do it anymore. Because when the Xbox 360 came out, you remember the Xbox 360 original console, and then they came out with the Elite version of it?
Yeah. And then the black versus the white one, and then they did the slim model, and then the E series, and
I bought so many of that Xbox consoles.
Me too.
Because I wanted to just keep getting the best, the best console at the market. At that point, it got to the end when the PS4 came out. I'm like, wait a minute. I spend so much money on consoles that now they're obsolete. They're sitting there and they're just not worth it at the time anymore. I'm like, do I really want to spend doing that over and over again with the PS4 when they come out with the PS4 Pro or when they come out with the PS5 Pro? I said to myself, you know what? I'm gonna bite the bullet and I'm not gonna upgrade this generation.
But Tim Geddes from Kind of Funny made this very same point way back when the Pro came out. And I remember I was yelling at the screen. I'm like, dude, it's not the same thing. Like I get the principle of it, like in terms of I'm upgrading to a console, but the Xbox 360 Elite was not in the same vein of an enhanced console. It was not. It was the same console. The only difference was that they added Wi-Fi to it as opposed to buying the Wi-Fi adapter, and it finally had HDMI output as opposed to having the component cables that Xbox 360 with, because people forget that it didn't have HDMI right off the bat. It had those component cables, and it had a 120 gigabyte proprietary hard drive. But it didn't run the games faster. It didn't run the games prettier. It wasn't higher resolution. It was simply a different SKU, but it was the same console.
And the thing though is that for me, when I saw that, and that's the thing. Nowadays, looking back on it, you're like, okay, it wasn't the same thing. But when it first came out, it was touted as an upgrade. It was touted as the console that you want to get for the Xbox. You know, after the Xbox Elite came out, there was no commercials. There was nothing of advertisement that was saying, "Hey, listen, you can get the Xbox One, original one." No, it was like, "This is the console now. This is the one that we're pushing forward." And if you look at the advertisements for the PS4, you will see that all of it's just PS4 Pro. Like you don't see any advertisement or any commercials that keep the base PS4. No, it's always the PS4 Pro because the PS4 Pro now is the base console for PS4. And I don't know, I just feel salty about it because I feel like I basically got left behind. And I get it.
I hear you. I'm not gonna lie.
But I'm just salty about
it. If I didn't buy a PS4 Pro, I'd probably be in your camp where I'm like, oh, I got the short end of the stick. I got the shaft.
Right. I agree there too.
And it's too late in the console generation for me to warrant buying a PS4 Pro. That's the issue that I have there. It's like I'm gonna wait until the PS4 and the PS5 comes out, but then a year down the line, the PS5 Pro is gonna come out, and I'm like,
see that's what I don't want going forward. That's what I don't want. If next generation, and hopefully in a couple months, maybe February, January, March, whenever, hopefully Sony has a presentation and they showcase what the next generation is. But I want them to say, hey, listen, we're going to have a PS5 and we're going to have a PS5 Pro at launch, and you can buy it. And if they can tell me out front, hey, listen, the understanding is that if you get the premium console, we're not going to nickel and dime you 3-4 years later for an enhanced console. I'll be like, perfect, yeah, I'll spend the extra money now. I'll give you the $600 now. Right, knowing full well that for the next 7 years, this is going to be the one box under my entertainment center, and I don't have to buy another one, and I'm going to get a premium experience. Yeah, here, take $600. I'm okay.
I feel like I'm still in that old
100%
PS3.
the same.
I feel like I'm still in that old PS3 mindset where at the beginning of the console, the PS3, the games were okay. Some of them ran like shit. Okay,
a lot of them ran like shit.
A lot of them.
But by the end of it, all of them ran beautifully. Like some of the games that you saw, like Last of Us, that's one of them that just keeps popping to my head.
Uncharted,
Ratchet and Clank, all these games that PS3 came out, Gran Turismo, the Ace Combat series, it was games that just ran well, and it was the same console. It wasn't a PS3, upgrade. It wasn't this PS3 Pro. It was just a base console. It had more system storage, which was the only difference between the original base console, the PS3, and the last version of the PS3. But it just ran the games well. They were optimized for it. Now I'm at the end of the PS4 console, and I see a lot of games that just run like shit. I have games Uncharted 4 when it first came out. That game runs beautifully. Also, Horizon Zero Dawn, beautifully.
But
Borderlands.
You just mentioned two exclusives, and so far these two games that everybody's up in arms about, Control and Borderlands, are not exclusive games.
Borderlands 2 played well when it came out.
No, it did not. Borderlands 2,
it didn't.
When it came out on the for the remaster, those games ran like shit. They came out like with a 15 gigabyte patch like months later for optimization, but those games ran like crap. You can watch the Digital Foundry video on that one.
Really?
Yeah. It ran like crap.
But
I gotta go back.
I mean, I think Goose said it very well. Like if Sony gives you the option out of the gate, or Microsoft gives you the option out of the gate to do the premium, the half step tier right off the bat, like I think that's going to be a better idea. And I hopefully going forward we don't see that disparity between the normal PlayStation 5 and the Pro PlayStation 5, whatever those may or may not be. But I think overall, like, yes, for the people that are stuck in this situation and it is really affecting them, yes, it sucks because both Control and Borderlands 3 are good games, and I know I personally would be very upset to have to try to go through something like that when all I want to do is play a game that I've been wanting to play. So
like for example, for me, I play Monster Hunter. This game has me by the balls. You guys know
yeah,
this.
it does.
It has me by like the balls, and it doesn't want to let go. But I can see when the console is having issues. Textures are not loading correctly. It takes a while for the textures to finally load in and show everything that is supposed to go. It takes a while for certain things to happen, and I can see the limitations of the PS4. It is only until now, because maybe I've just been spoiled by Sony when it comes to the first party titles, and I've been spoiled by Bungie, and maybe that's just my issue, that I keep playing two games that are, games as a service that just keep playing on and on and on and on the same engine, that I haven't had the issues of going back and playing other games that are not optimized as well. And now that I'm going back and playing some of these games, it just feels like I'm getting the short end of the stick, and I feel like it's just, by this point, it's not. It warrants me that I should have gotten the PS4 Pro when it first came out, and I feel like I should have listened to myself and just did the plunge, but because I waited so long, that now I'm just stuck in this limbo. That
no, it's not worth it. Just wait for PS5.
It's not
absolutely.
worth it. So,
it's not worth it. But kind of wrapping up. That's all I really have this week. Is there anything you guys wanted to bring to the table or anything like that?
So I played 50 Ways of Horde on Insane about an hour ago. No, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna talk about that, dude.
Hey.
Well, actually, I was actually.
No, I mean you can't. I was like, you could.
I'm messing, Jeff. I'm just messing around.
It's like this isn't for me. This is the thing.
I did play 150 Waves of Insane on.
No, you've been playing Gears
this
like
is
a
true.
maniac. Okay.
You completed it?
Yeah, he completed it.
The 50 Waves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we completed it.
Very good.
Yeah.
We had a good team of randoms communicating and everything.
Congrats.
There's a new meme that I have created, and that I'm gonna share the template with you, Jeff, one of these days, and I showed it to Gustavo, and he was laughing his head off. I'm not the owner of the meme. It's just that basically what I did was, I hate matchmaking. It's we've been spoiled by TMSG, me and Gustavo, to the point where when we start playing with randos, you can realize how aggravating and annoying it can be. So the meme is basically Mufasa asking Scar for help.
Oh, you gotta show him that. Yeah, it's good, dude.
And Scar's like, and Scar just represents our friends, and they're like, sorry, brother, we ain't playing this game anymore with you. Good luck with those randoms. And fucking Scar throws Mufasa into the matchmaking hell that is down the freaking ravine. And it's like, and it just feels awesome. Like that. It's like, guys, help. Brother, help me! Like, long live the king. Yeah, good luck, bitch.
That was the weird thing though. Like, I was playing with, like, real quick. I was playing the Call of Duty beta, and like when I was with my group of friends, like we still were in public chat. Like we were in a group together, but it was still, we could hear everybody else talking. And it was like, oh man, like I don't miss people just talking shit in Call of Duty. Like
so one of the, just real quick,
there's a mute all button too, and I hit that shit
right away.
Right away.
Mute everybody.
So, not to get into it too much. I'm not gonna talk about Horde at all. But when I do play with someone, I play with Lee mostly. My friend from TMSG from Tennessee. Shout out to Lee. It's usually me and him. I play as the tank, I would say, and he's the engineer. He builds our fortifications. And what we do is we start a custom match, because we don't do matchmaking at all. We just start a custom match because that way I as host or him as host can pause the game if we have to pee or anything. Because sometimes I was there for close to 3.5 hours on Insane. I was there for a long time. People have to piss. People have to do things. People have to eat. But I was telling Marlon that I have been spoiled playing with the TMSG guys for close to 5 years, a little over 5 years, because playing with randoms suck, man. People are trolled. People, they don't communicate. People leave like on the boss waves on purpose. People get killed on purpose and like try to bait you to save them so you can get killed on the harder waves. I'm like, why? Like, what's the point of that? So one of the things that one of the strategies that me and Lee do is as soon as we start a custom game, I usually host it. We start, and as soon as we get somebody in, we invite them to our own private party. And I was telling Marlon that the majority of the people who do get into the party, they're like, "Oh wow, I can't believe you guys want to communicate. I can't believe you guys have mics." And we don't say anything to them obviously because we don't want to be rude. But I'm like, this should be expected, dude. This is a co-op game. We need communication in order to beat these waves. Why wouldn't we communicate? Like, what's so bad about that? I'll give you another example. I played with some randoms. Lee wasn't part of it, but to just complete randoms, we never spoke. The only reason, and Marlon, don't cackle because I can just hear your cackling laughter right now. The name of the server was Trump 2020. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Oh, I'm jumping into that one." I jumped into that one. The name of damn, I don't want to blow him up, but fuck it, I'll blow him up. His gamer tag was Silent Lover.
Oh,
CYLONLOVER. Silent Lover, whatever that meant. And he was just like this troll. He had, I think, like Alex Jones on repeat or something. I'm like, oh god, this is a crazy dude. I paused it. I muted him, and I got in at wave 3. And we weren't playing on Insane. We were playing on Advanced. No, sorry, on Elite. We were playing on Elite, which is right below Insane. And I'm like, I don't know how we're going to make it. But we made it. We never spoke. There was a guy who was on PC who would chat. He'd be like, hey, please deposit on to the fabricator so I can build fortifications. But we never had a spoken word. I know they could hear me because sometimes I would ask for a locker and the guy bought it for me. He bought me 2 lockers. But that was the most fun I've had with randoms and not speaking at all. And I was like, wow. And then at the end of the thing, he said, good game. And then he said, I said, good game, MAGA. And he responded back like with a happy face. And I didn't insult him, but I called him a troll. I was like, yo, you're a troll, dude. Like he was playing extremely risky. He was playing as Kate, which Marlon had played as. And he was just going out there. And he was really good at executing people. He was great at that. But like you could tell he was just trolling. Sometimes he'd get killed on purpose. And I'm like, oh, dude, I'm not going to save you. There were a couple times where it was just me and the engineer and everybody had died, especially towards the last waves. Like from, I think it was 41, we had a big scare because there was only one dude left. And we're like, oh my God, if we lose, it's over. And I wish I had recorded that one. I didn't record that one. But yeah, I've been very spoiled playing with my friends.
Yeah, you can say
and
that.
You just don't get that with randoms.
No, you don't. Like for me, Monster Hunter World, like I have played this game exclusively with matchmaking. Let that sink in. This game, I have almost 550 hours, and I beaten most of this game through matchmaking. And let me tell you, when you get a group of hunters that know what they're doing, and they know what they're supposed to be doing and how to kill each boss and how to kill each monster, it's honestly like a religious experience, because it just feels like somebody came up to me and said, like, just, hey, listen, we know you've been working your ass off. We know that you've been struggling with this thing. We're just going to help you out with this, buddy. And honestly, I don't get that all the time. Sometimes I get fucked up by how janky this game can be at times. And it's the reality of multiplayer games, Sometimes you're going to get a really good team, and sometimes you're going to get a team that just makes you go, why are you playing this game? Why are you doing this to yourself? But basically, this was what I felt like when I was playing Monster Hunter, and I finally beat Volcana with a decent team. Thank God, for Christ. We beat this stupid shit. We finally beat this stupid shit. I felt like I was like, God damn it, man! Thank God. And then after that, I just wrecked house after I got like the armor that I needed to beat the rest of the game. Right now, I'm probably master rank. I don't know, 57, 58. I haven't even checked it. But yeah, that's just the nature of how Monster Hunter World is. Because if you're playing with a team with 4s that know how to do things, bro, easy beast. Matchmaking with fucking randoms that are basically trolling you, yeah, no thank you. So yeah, that's just all I have for this week, man.
Chef, you know what we should do for when you come back with the grind? We should do a horde mode, not necessarily a 50 wave one. I'm not expecting you to have the time to do that, but maybe like a shorter one, maybe like a 25 wave one or something like that.
Yeah, sounds good.
We can get Marlon on there. Maybe hopefully we can get Dalton too.
Yeah,
that'll be
absolutely. That would be fun. I would like that for sure. For sure. But I don't have anything else. If you guys don't have anything else.
No, that was it.
Good.
That was a good
All right.
show.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys as always for joining us. Feel free to follow us on Twitch and Twitter and YouTube at the AEG Show. And until next week, we will see you here on the AEG Show.
Can you smell what the
my God.
rock is
Bringing it back.
cooking?